Welcome back to Naija Football Talk. My name is Chima, and as usual, I have my co-conspirators with me, Bolu and Kolade. Don't worry, we're not going to banter Bolu so much. I can't say much for Kolade anyway, but I promise you that I'm going to give you breathing space today, Bolu. We're cool, right?
No, we're all good. We're all good.
Nice one. But how are you doing now?
I'm fine, thank you very much.
Nice one. Happy to be here with you guys again. Kolade, how far now?
We did now.
You happy Arsenal fan?
No. All we do is win.
All you do is win.
Or not the Champions League.
Nothing now. No worries.
And coincidentally, today we are going to be looking at the UEFA Champions League, the last of, it's not a dying breed now, but the last of the current formats that we've enjoyed for the past.
Talking about Champions League and Bolu Day, when his team are not playing.
Look at this man. He wasn't in a chronology conversation for 7 years.
Anyway,
let's manage him.
Bukayo Saka was in GS3 the last time you were in Champions League.
All I know is that Arsenal have missed out on a large part of the UEFA Champions League as far as we are concerned.
Story.
Missed out on 7 years worth.
Story.
Anyway, so yeah, we're talking about the Champions League today.
Yeah.
And it's, well, like I said, it's the last of of the current format, because from the next season we're going into a new format. But before we go into that new format, let's talk about the one that we're about to witness. Which obviously some group games have already been played. We've seen some nice action. Shout out to Newcastle for returning to Europe, for doing their best against Milan. And it has turned out really nice so far for all parties involved, as far as we're concerned, and as far as the fans too are concerned. So what are your overall thoughts, basically, on the groupings, as you can see? Like, do you think they're evenly balanced? Do you think there are potential dark horses? What are your overall thoughts on the teams that are participating so far?
Well, like we've seen in the Champions League over the years, the groups will never ever be balanced. That's just the truth. There will be groups where there will be some feeling of injustice, if you would say. And I think this season, when you look at the groupings, Newcastle from the Premier League side will feel a little bit of injustice, but then you can't really blame them based on their coefficients and the seeds that they were put in. So I will be interested in seeing how Newcastle progress, and I won't lie, I'm going to be shocked if they manage to progress from that group, not because of their quality, but because I don't see how they can balance the hectic schedule of the Premier League and other cup competitions.
It's
alongside the Champions League,
because
then we have the usual suspects of police and thief, Bayern and Man U. So I don't think I'm really surprised by any of that. And the big boys are back. Obviously, Arsenal, the big boys are back.
Slaves of Europe are back.
The big boys are back.
The whipping boys are back. Those
big
boys
are
just not
back
miss
where they
Bayern if you
belong.
qualify
So
from your group. Because
no worry.
we know as it goes.
We know now. No.
The whipping boys of Europe are back.
Come on, that was under Wenger.
Get your strikers out.
This is a brand new Arsenal.
This guy's shamelessness never ceases to amaze me, even though I'm used to it, even though I see it every single time. But yet, anytime he starts displaying, it always gets to me. Anyway, speaking of Arsenal, though, you guys are grouped with Sevilla, PSV, and RC Lens. RC Lens are debutants in the Champions League. You are basically debutants too, because after 7 years, wait till Nasabi again.
Even RC Lens are historical. They played in it before.
Yes, but they've not
in the same WhatsApp group.
They've not been there for a long time. They've not been there, so I still consider them debutants.
Before little children start to talk, before these 7 years, Arsenal and Real Madrid were the only teams that qualified 18 seasons consecutively.
I get that before.
Let me remind you, but go on.
Sevilla, PSV, and Lens and Arsenal. This is one group that we really do not know the outcome, but generally,
just the middle of a group.
I can tell you the outcome for free.
Really? Okay. So let's hear your what's your thoughts on that group, and maybe general, if you can just touch on general groupings. Yeah.
For Arsenal's group here, there's really, even going by the letters, A is at the top.
God.
We are definitely topping that group, and I'm not saying this because of sentiment.
Okay.
When we look at Sevilla, I don't even think they're interested in qualifying to the next round. their base is just to go back to the Europa League. So I don't see how they will not finish third. When you talk about Lens,
when something keeps happening and it starts to look like a pattern, even if it's not intentional, and that's what
I don't see how it will happen again. And for Lens, no disrespect to them, but I think they will be the whooping boys of that group. They lost 2 key men in Luis Openda and Seko Fofana over the summer, and they've been very weak. And in fact, this season they only 1 point from 5 games, and they are bottom of.
These are people who literally brushed aside everybody.
Exactly, just I think 1 or 2 points behind PSG, and now they are bottom of League One. So I don't see them standing close to any of Arsenal, PSV, and Sevilla as well. And I remember the last time Arsenal met PSV in the Europa League, it was a tough one because we won one and they defeated us once as well. So I think Arsenal and PSV will be the ones to battle out for first and second. Sevilla will finish third and
still winning an European trophy before you guys again.
Just rest first.
See you. Because it's normal. It's normal. If Sevilla goes back to the Europa League,
they will win
it. And Arsenal will keep searching for their trophy.
And then for other groupings, like a certain group A, case of Police and Thief.
Oh God, Police and Thief.
Bayern and Man
heavy whooping.
Bayern and Man you go chop them as it they out. Normal. I'll be surprised if Manchester United win anyways, but I think based on what we've seen so far this season, I don't see them getting.
Well, they have Champions League and upsets.
Champions League has that kind of juice, anyways. So for Newcastle, I think they have the most difficult pairing of any English side to be drawn with PSG. Milan. It's quite
Dortmund.
And Dortmund as well. These are teams that you can't really say this side will beat this side. It's an evenly placed game in all fixtures.
Well, I think Newcastle will be very lucky to qualify to the Europa League from that group.
No, I think
they'll be very, very lucky.
I think they'll be very lucky to even win 3 matches.
Are you not underestimating?
No, see, it's not about underestimating them. Look at that group is literally the group of death, if you ask me. PSV, Dortmund, Dortmund and Milan. It's common. Then with Newcastle, as far as I'm concerned, it's the group of death. Now, if it was the PSG where they still had, I won't even say Neymar and Messi and Mbappe, but at least if they still had heavy hitters like Verratti, they still probably had maybe Sergio Ramos in defense. It could have been like you could have said it to be a walkover for them. But this time around, they are very weak. It's just
like a transition state.
They are in a transition state. It's just Mbappe. But Mbappe alone is worth 10 men as far as I'm concerned. No, is worth 10 men.
The old Chelsea team, for instance.
But at the same time, because
neither you or Mbappe have a Champions League title.
But because he cannot play all positions on the pitch, it has sort of balanced out everything in that group. So almost all of them are on the same level, but Newcastle is just a tier below because, and if you consider their struggles this season in the Premier League too, it's going to be very hard for them to win 3 games, let's be honest. So let's look at Bayern Munich group. Well, we already know, like you said, Manchester United, Copenhagen, and Galatasaray. It's easy to predict that Bayern and Manchester United will qualify from that group. But do you think there's any upset that could happen? I mean, Galatasaray is stacked this season.
Yeah, they are. Galatasaray are always stacked. They have Zaha, Hakim Ziyech, Mudryk, Kadi. They always have a number of very good players in their squad. But I think they have a battle on their hands to reach the next round of the Champions League based on the fact that Manchester United are not who they should be. We don't know what we'll be getting from them in the Champions League this season. So I think Galatasaray obviously have a realistic chance, but we still need to see what Manchester United will pull up, what kind of performances they will pull up in the group. Because once we know Manchester United, once they start firing, they just keep going. And in that kind of group where there's Copenhagen, there's Galatasaray, I think Manchester United and Bayern Munich will definitely looking to get 6 points from those games. So it's I think obviously Galatasaray have a chance, but they have to do a lot of stepping up and they have to hope Man United are not at the level that they should.
If there's any point where their 12th man will be very involved, it should be at this point in time, especially against Manchester United. Turkish fans are some of the most passionate.
Yeah.
I'm not condoning it, but if they want to throw in their racism, I think it is this period that they will need to do it. Anyway, let's move forward though. Now let's look at our boy Victor Osimhen's group. They have Braga, they have Real Madrid, and they have Union Berlin. Napoli is in the middle of these guys. Union Berlin has been on the rise. I mean, it's been a 5 year or 4 year growth stage where they've gone from Bundesliga to Bundesliga to Conference League to Europa League and now Champions League. They are one of the fastest growing clubs in Europe at the moment. I mean, they're even signing big names like Chiellini and Bonucci, rather. Two of them, they're bad headed. So they have these guys, and then they have Real Madrid with Carlo Ancelotti's eyebrow raising guys. You understand? So I wonder how Victor Osimhen is going to Victor Osimhen and Napoli are going to fare against these guys. What do you think of that group, Kolade?
I think it's a very difficult one. I mean, on paper, it's easy to say Real Madrid and Napoli would progress. But when you look at a team like Braga, it's a potential banana skin game. A game where
the kind that they will step and do like 3 somersaults before hitting their head.
A kind of game where Napoli can just get punished for 1 or 2 mistakes, and those guys will gladly take up their status as the underdogs and just lock shop, and protect 1 point or, a silly, dodgy win or something like that. So, for the case of Napoli and Real Madrid, I think I'll be very interested in seeing how Osimhen performs against a world-class side. I mean, he has earned the tag as a world-class striker, and I would like to see how he performs against, a team like Real Madrid. And if he can, there's been a criticism of Osimhen and not stepping up in the biggest games. So I would like to see him answer some of those questions and maybe score 1 or 2 against Real Madrid.
Well, it will be very impressive if he does that, because the gist of him not being a Real Madrid player because of Jude Bellingham is still flying around. I mean, imagine our guy playing for Real Madrid. As a Barcelona fan, I would not like it, but as a Nigerian, as a Super Eagles fan, I really, really appreciate the fact that one of ours is in one of the biggest clubs in the world. It's been a while since Nigerian football had such a massive win. Anyway, I would have said let's look into Barcelona's group, but you guys know we're going to qualify now.
That's a very dead group.
It's the truth now. The group, as far as I'm concerned,
you've had 2 years back to back in Europa. You're going back to Europa. Don't worry.
See. I would first of all start off by saying that as far as I'm concerned, Barcelona is not going anything less than the quarterfinals. So let us even go straight in. Yes. Let's go straight into predictions.
Can we agree on set that if by mistake Barca do not qualify, you wear an Arsenal jersey for 3 weeks?
I would even wear a Real Madrid jersey for 3 weeks.
Okay. Bam.
It's
signed and sealed.
Nigeria Football Talk audience, you guys heard it here. If Barcelona does not leave our group right now, I'm going to wear a Real Madrid jersey for 3 weeks on Naija Football Talk. Anyway, since I've already started off with the predictions, Bolu, let's hear from you. What are your predictions? Let's start with round of 16. Which teams do you think would make the round of 16? You don't need to mention all of them, but which teams do you expect to see in the round of 16? Maybe you could throw in one of the I don't know, maybe you have underdogs that you think could make it, because I'm very sure that everybody will be leaning towards the big names. But which teams do you expect to see in the round of 16?
Well, in the Champions League, you can always expect little surprises, especially in terms of making the knockouts. We always know who would make the knockouts, and a few surprises there are a big team falls into the Europa League. But for now, we've not really seen much of the action. We don't really know how each team is looking in the European competition. So I think, the usual suspects. I've not really thought of any underdog being. I mean, there's Union Berlin, those debutants. There's PSV, there's Lens, all those teams. But just don't know how they will perform until you see them in action yet. So I'll just say the big boys expected to make the next round for now.
Just the big boys. Kolade, do you have anything? Do you think any dark horse? Are you expecting any lesser known teams to shock everybody and make it into the round of 16?
Not really. I mean, I think.
Maybe like Arsenal could make it.
I mean, I found
Very
surprising.
apt because I mean, what if Arsenal?
They've not been there in a long
If
time.
Arsenal qualify, it's not even a shock anymore.
How is it not a
expect-
shock? I would be
expect-
legit surprised.
I would be shocked if you win your round of 16
I
games.
expect
Because
nothing
if
less than
you've been meeting
seeing-
Bayern for years.
I expect nothing less than seeing Arsenal in the round of 16, and I'm going to say it here on camera that if they give me Bayern this time, I could chop them like
Hey.
clean. And
All right, since we are still, keeping things safe because we don't want to say that Arsenal would giant the group stage.
the excitement when you guys talk about Arsenal. Anyways, I get it. I mean, when you talk about
genuinely,
something great, I understand the excitement.
Banter aside, yeah, I am low-key happy that Arsenal is back in the Champions League. Because truly, you are a team, who I think deserves the spot. But now, I will also tell you what I genuinely feel about Arsenal being there. It's a waste of space because we know they are not going to do anything.
All this way they talk. Make I no catch back, Asha.
Make I know you guys are not going to do anything.
Make I no catch back. Make I no catch back.
Because you beat me for preseason.
That one self preseason was.
Because
I
you
was
beat me for
lenient.
preseason.
I was lenient too.
Look at this man. Anyway, so
Yeah.
since we're looking at, I know usually Champions League is where the big boys technically tend to make the further knockout, which is the round of 16, the semi-finals and all of that. So let's go straight into the semis. Which teams do you think will make the semis this time around, Kolade?
I think one of them has to be City. By any shock, I don't see how they won't even get to the final again. After City, expecting Bayern Munich as well.
And that Tuchel. Well,
Yeah, I'm expecting Bayern Munich as well.
he's a cup manager.
I mean,
so.
Tuchel has.
Coming from you, your manager is Xavi. Okay. No Pedro in cup competitions.
Nice one,
Okay,
nice
continue.
one.
And I'm also expecting Real Madrid as well.
Mhm.
And to cap it off,
Arsenal.
no, my shamelessness no reach.
You know that's not your level.
You for-
Reach that we are winning it next year anyways.
Okay.
But the fourth team to join these guys, I would take a punt on Napoli.
Napoli. Do you agree with Kolade?
Yeah, I agree. It's first 3 picks with a shock name, and a name like Napoli, I wouldn't disagree with Napoli as the fourth semi-finalist.
So you are both on the same page as for the semi-finalists. And out of these two, out of these 4, who do you think will make the finals?
Final.
We're not talking of who wins the competition this time
Final.
around. Which teams are we going to be watching on Saturday, June 24th?
Can City make another final? I like to think they can, but I also want to think there will be a slip up somewhere where they reach semi-final. I don't know. My mind is fighting my head here, but I think City they should be in another final alongside Real Madrid.
What are your opinions, or what is your opinion rather?
Bayern, Real Madrid.
Yeah. I totally agree with you, Kolade, because I don't see this season, especially, I don't see Bayern and Real Madrid making it to the semis and not going all the way to the final. And it's been a while since those two teams actually met each other in the Champions League. It's going to be very interesting to see, except if both of them play each other in the semis to cancel themselves out.
Except if Arsenal, Arsenal get to the semis as well.
People are not smelling the quarterfinals.
So that's not possible anyways. We are getting to the quarterfinals.
Indeed. And when the new champion is crowned, it means that that's the last champion of the current format, because the new format is going to start soon. I'm going to read something interesting to you guys to explain what the new format of the UEFA Champions League is all about. Now, and when the new champion is crowned, it means that will be the last champion of the current format, because starting next season, the Champions League is going to see a brand new face. It's going to take on a brand new shape, and that will be the season that probably Arsenal will have a chance.
Bro, your head is on point. It's made for Arsenal.
Bro, I'm just trying to massage your ego so that you come back to the same next
You mean to tell me Arsenal couldn't win the Champions League with 32 teams, but now they win it with 36.
They play.
I know that's what made.
If wishes were horses,
I know that's
they
what
play.
made Kolade stop to the come.
If wishes were us, Mudryk could have scored. But go
if
on.
wishes were horses, Arsenal will win the
Mudryk
European
could have
title.
scored.
I know
goal,
that's what
no
made
wahala.
stop to the come set, because if we tell our truth, if you say no to Naija football talking. Anyway, the new format of the UEFA Champions League from next season, we'll see, like Bolu said, we'll now have 36 teams instead of the usual 32 teams. Starting from 2024, we're going to have 36 teams instead of 32 teams, just like Bolu said. And the extra 4 teams, one of them is going to come from the first ranked team, and one will come from the second ranked team. As you guys know, Europe has a ranking system where they give out, top 5 teams. This time around,
England is number 1.
England is
Spain,
number 1.
number
Yeah,
2.
exactly. So if it remains the same at the end of this season, it means that England will have 5 teams in next year's.
Good news for the likes of Chelsea and Brighton.
And even Arsenal too,
likes.
because you people may not finish in top 4 this time
You
around.
look at what you are saying. Look at what you are saying. You know you won't come out well.
Anyway, so the top 2 teams will have 1 each, and then the 5th ranked team, meaning that the team on number 5, not the team on number 3, not the team on number 4, they're going to have 1 team, because usually the 5th ranked team only presents 2.
5th ranked league.
5th ranked league. Thank
That's
you
the
very
Dutch
much for
league.
that. Yes, they only present 2 teams for the Champions League. So whatever league is ranked 5th this time around will now be given the opportunity to have 3 teams instead of 2. And then the 4th extra team will now come from the playoffs. Hopefully, maybe we can see some of our Naija guys playing in the lower leagues finally make it to the UEFA Champions League, so that they don't necessarily have to run to one team that will keep them on the bench for the rest of their careers, because that's what they like to do.
Yeah.
Anyway, so, and this time around, instead of having group stages, there are going to be a big group of 36 teams.
Yeah, the Swiss
basically
model.
the Swiss model, a big league table of 36 teams, where each team will play 8 games against randomly drawn teams. It's going to be a very interesting prospect. It also means there will be more matches.
Yeah.
It also means there will be more matches. And the top 8 teams at the end of this round of games,
Top 9.
the top 9, rather, at the end of this round of games, will move on to the next stage, which is a round of 16. While the next teams from 9 to 24 will move on into a playoff zone, where they will battle it out for another set to join them in the round of 16. And the rest, they are all gone from Europe. There will be no demotion to the Europa League, which means that there will be no playoffs in the Europa League. The way, Arsenal are always lucky to face team.
Ironically, now
Can still not win it.
Ironically, now your team Jago Europa last season. But go on.
Anyway, so there will be no chance for Arsenal to, go and try their luck in the Europa League. If they're ja. That's where it ends for them.
A whole top 9. 9
They can
teams.
still do it this season, though. This is the
No
final
way,
season.
no
for them
way
to
you
try
believe
it.
there will be 9 teams and Arsenal will not qualify. I can't be that bad.
Well, that's true.
I can't be that bad.
That's
Come
true.
on.
That's true. So basically, the new format of the Champions League promises a lot more games, promises a lot more fun. And I don't know how it's going to affect the psyche of the footballers who are already complaining about too many games in a season. So let's start from there. First of all, as football fans, we like to see a lot of football.
Yeah.
Fortunately and unfortunately, it's at the expense of the players. But we just want to see football. I mean, there are some of us who literally live for football anyway. Our job here on Naija Football Talk is football after all. If there's no football, we won't be here doing all of this. But what do you think? Do you think it's too much from UEFA? Do you think it's going to make the competition much more interesting than it currently is?
Definitely make the competition less interesting, because more games, and there's even less margin for a big team failing to make the knockouts.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the same teams that we expect to make the knockouts rounds are more likely to make the knockout rounds. It means there's less drama, which the Champions League is known for. There's going to be less drama. It's going to be less entertaining, because there are just too many games at this point. And if you can win your games very early, it means the rest of the games are just, and it's a league format, so it doesn't really have that effect of, if you don't win this game, you're out. So it's going to make it less interesting. It will probably mean more players at the point because clubs will now have to stack their squads with more players, more quality players. Because
probably we'll be seeing 30-man squads.
it's exactly. So that means
Ah,
there'll be more
pockets will
players.
bleed. Barcelona, oh.
Broke Luna.
So there'll be many more players, many more games, but less entertainment. Which, as a football fan, I worry about the future of football. I worry about the future of the biggest competition in Europe, really. And I just hope that there's a way that they can go around it and makes it still have the feeling of the Champions League, because I just struggle to find a way. But maybe it will become more interesting in knockout rounds, actually. To probably become, that's when the knockout rounds come around that you can really feel the Champions League football. But the group stages wouldn't feel the same anymore.
So what do you think about it? Do you think this is going to just, same question I asked Bolu, do you think it will make it more interesting, or do you think this is just a wild shot by UEFA?
The first thing I thought about when I saw this change is more money. More money for UEFA and the likes, because currently they play about 125 games, and with this model it's going to go up to about 189 games. More games means more TV allocations, more ticket sales, more money for them, which is expected. And thinking about, I mean, when you use this season to judge, you see how many ACLs, you see how many long-term injuries we've seen from players already. So you take an English side, for instance, you have to play the FA Cup.
And that's because they had a mid-season tournament like the World Cup that they were
now you have to play
playing every 2 days.
Now take an African Premier League player that has to play in the FA Cup, Premier League, the Carabao Cup. You go for AFCON, you go for your international break. And don't forget, they are also starting a 32-man FIFA Club World Cup model that is also going to be similar to something like this. So I think on the players' part, I don't think they'll be looking forward to it. Even though for fans, we can say, oh, more games. And like Bolu said, it might be less interesting. But on the flip side, it might also produce some early big matchups, because you could have...
you could see
a game like Arsenal and PSG from round
one. You could
one.
even see Real Madrid Bayern from round one.
Real Madrid Bayern from round one. It's very probable. Yeah, but just like I just want to take our viewers a little back to before the Champions League model that we all know now was formed. It was because of something like this that gave rise to the group stage. Napoli and Real Madrid were supposed to play, and the then AC Milan owner was not pleased with the fact that Silvio Berlusconi was not pleased.
Very polarizing figure in football.
He was not pleased with the fact that one of 2 European giants will go out of the competition so early. You know, the former Champions League format, it was just 16 teams before it was moved to 32 in 1992. So it's the same case here. We might have some big hitters leaving early, and that would not give us the same Champions League feel.
Imagine us now being part of the team.
God, that would mess.
But the certain is very unlikely for them to lose now, because even if you miss,
like Bolu said, I think it gives this lackadaisical feeling. I mean, you feel like, okay, if I don't make it up now, 16 to 24 day, I go rough on from there.
You can't be like saying a cup game.
I'm not really
on that 16.
I like that feeling of knowing that once you lose your first 2 games, pressure is already on you. I might finish 4th, I might finish 3rd, you know, but I think it's just more money for UEFA, sadly.
More money for UEFA, and more stress on the footballers and more stress on us, the fans, because even though we like football that much, I don't think it will be easy for us to keep up. I mean, I love Naija.
Sorry to continue. Even for match-going fans, they have more games to
attend.
That means they're going to spend more money on tickets, more money on traveling.
I mean, look at us too. How many times they come studio?
More shoots.
You get more shoots, all of that. Anyway, but we love doing what we do. But I think it's something that may adversely affect football. But let's see how it goes, because it still promises, to be very interesting.
The good thing is that I feel like it is a chance for us now to finally win the Champions League.
It's a chance for everybody.
It's not going to be easier for you. It's just going to be easier for you to get to the knockout round.
And that's about it.
And you still meet Bayern in the knockout rounds. Real Madrid.
Anyway, that's been our show.
Be there anyway,
well, we've won it. In fact, we've already qualified for the 2025 Club World Cup.
As it stands. Anyway, that's been our show for the UEFA Champions League. Thank you so much for being with us. Up to this point in time, it's been really interesting talking about our predictions, giving a general overview of the groups. The matches have already started. We've seen some crackers in the first match day and looking forward to more. Get ready because Naija Football Talk is going to start our watch along series very soon. So you'll be watching the games with us. And until that time, and until we come your way with another Naija Football Talk episode, my name is Chima. I have Kolade and I have Bolu, and we're all saying, stay jiggy.